I am Dr. Sandeep Parit, teacher for MBA, Shivaji University, Kolhapur. The title of our subject is Managerial Skills for Effectiveness, and today the subtopic we are going to discuss, that is skill analysis. Now, what is skill analysis? Before that, just in last presentation we have discussed what is skill. Skill is a talent, it is expertise. We talked about interpersonal skills. They are very much needed. If you want to become a successful manager, you should possess interpersonal skills. Now, this second point we are going to discuss here, skill analysis. So, let us start our discussion about skill analysis. What is a skill analysis? A skill analysis gives you the opportunity to assess your current skill set. The first thing is to assess your current skill set. As a team, you are working together in the organization. Numbers of employees are there with you. So, you have to identify, you have to assess the current skill sets of that particular team or employees. And your evidence of that skill, you have to evidence, you have to check whether the skill is there in the team or not, and that is skill analysis. It also helps you map out what skills you need to develop and how you will achieve this. So, this skill analysis will help you to understand which skill is to be developed and how you will achieve this. So, as a manager, you have to analyze the skills of your team, the skills of the employees, the members of your organization. So, skill analysis gives us the opportunity to assess your current skill set. Now, if you witness certain gap in the skills, now certain gap means what? What are the desired skills, and at present what skills are having your team? So, there is a gap in between present skills and desired skills. There is gap in between, and so we have to analyze that gap, and that is known as skill gap analysis. Skills gap analysis. So, what is a skills gap analysis? At its core, a successful skills gap analysis allow you to identify if and where skill gaps exist within your team or organization. Means where skill gaps are existed, you can identify. This analysis allows you to identify the gap which is existed in your team, in your organization. It also helps you determine whether any skills gap are small enough to be bridged through employee upskilling or reskilling. You can also understand whether that gap can be filled by employee upskilling and reskilling. Is it possible for you or not? It can be analyzed by this gap skill analysis. The analysis can tell you where in your company skills development will have the biggest impact. So, this skill gap analysis is very important for analyzing the skills, for the development of the skills, and it will also tell you where in your company skills development will have the biggest impact. It means that in sum, I would say that this gap analysis will guide your company. It is very important. Now, properly identifying skill gaps is a strategic imperative, and it should be a top priority for any CEO or CHRO. Now, we have seen what is skill analysis, what is skill gap analysis. Now, the next point, what are the steps to conduct a skills gap analysis? Steps to conduct a skill gap analysis. Now, the first step, start internal conversation about skill, not jobs. Nowadays we witness the stakeholders or the employees go on talking about jobs, job grading, job families, but nobody talks about skills. When starting off, it is important to drive all conversations you have with other leaders, managers and involved parties such as L&D and HR employees from a skills point of view. Whenever you talk, whenever you discuss, you have to discuss about skills from a skills point of view. And this is the first step. The next, identify future skills needed in your company and industry. You wanna uplift your industry, you wanna take your company ahead, wanna make successful, you have to identify future skills. And in this context, this gap and a skill gap analysis matters a lot. Understanding the key trends in your industry and what your competitive landscape will look like in 5 to 10 years will help you set your target range of skills needed. Means you have to understand, it will help you to understand the trend in your industry. It can also tell you, guide you for competitive landscape that will look like in 5 to 10 years. It will help you to target range of skills needed. In coming 5 to 10 years, what sort of skills are needed, which skills are to be developed and inculcated in your employees, and that will be understood through this skill gap analysis. The next step, measure employees' existing skills. Now at this position, at present, what sort of skills are there in employees? Existing skills are there. We can measure the skills by using this analysis. Knowing your target set of skills will allow you to determine your distance to those skills. Means your target skills and the present skills. You will find the distance in between and you can determine your distance, how to achieve those skills, the timeline in which you can achieve those skills. You can just measure all these things by using this skill gap test, analysis test. The most effective approach is to run an organizational diagnostic of your current skill set using some of the sophisticated applications available. So numbers of things are available to test all these things. So in this regard, this skill analysis test, gap analysis test helps us. Now the next step, communicate your findings to employees and define learning pathways. So as a leader, you have to communicate your findings to employees. You have to share all these things and you have to define the learning pathway. The way should be set in front of the employees. How we have to reach there, how we have to achieve the goal, what sort of skills are to be developed. These all things, that pathway should be set by the manager. Having run the organizational and individual assessments only tells you the what your skill pathways could be, but doesn't solve for the how. Means what skills are to be improved, we can say, we can discuss, but we cannot say how can we develop those skills. We doesn't solve for the how is very important. So understand that some employees may be reluctant to start spending time upskilling or retraining for new positions. Some employees may be reluctant to start spending times upskilling or retraining for new positions, but their underlying motivations are key in driving the change process. So here the manager should communicate your findings or his findings to employees and define learning pathways. This is the next step. Now start small with one department or division in your organization. Don't focus on whole company at a time. Instead of that, you wanna develop the skill gap, you wanna identify the skill gaps. So start focusing on one department, small department, and then division of your organization and start from that organization. Don't focus thoroughly on the company. After you identify skills gap across your company, pick one business or geographic unit where there is an obvious change and a clear path to solving that change. It means that when you analyze the skill gap, don't focus on a whole company, whole organization. Instead of that, just first select one small department, small division of organization and analyze the gap in between in that department and start from one after one, and later on after some times you will be able to analyze the skill gap of our whole organization. Now the next step, make the skills gap analysis an ongoing activity. It means that it should be a part of your management. Skill gap analysis should be the part of your administration, of your management. It should be the ongoing activity. Every means a certain period should be set for such a analysis, and as per that period regularly you have to make the analysis of skills gap. Finally, as the markets move more rapidly than ever, the skills needs of businesses are also changing rapidly. As per the markets, the skills are changing. As per the technology, as per the advancement or development, the skills are changing. The skills, previous skills are different. Nowadays, we need to have some different skills. So they are changing vastly, and in this changing world, we have to cope up with all these skills. Solving for the skill shift will only be sustainable if you embed the skill gap analysis and insights from that analysis into the daily business. So the last step, if you wanna make the skills gap analysis, the last step is make the skills gap analysis an ongoing activity. It should be the part and parcel of your administration. If you want to make your administration efficient and effective, you have to apply this test, this analysis, and that is what we have discussed skill analysis today. Okay, thank you.